How to control your mouth, mind, emotions, and money. This is not just advice, it is a survival code for anyone who wants to rise above average, avoid unnecessary pain, and quietly build power in life. Most people lose not because they lack talent, but because they lack control. They speak too much, think too little, react too fast, and spend without purpose. And slowly, without realizing it, they give away their power piece by piece. Let's begin with the mouth, because this is where most damage starts. Words are not just sounds, they are weapons, signals, and reflections of your inner state. A person who cannot control their tongue cannot control their life. Every time you speak unnecessarily, you reveal your thoughts, your plans, your weaknesses. You give people a map of how to handle you. Silence, on the other hand, creates mystery, and mystery creates power. When you speak less, people listen more. When you choose your words carefully, they carry weight. Think about it. The most respected people in any room are not the loudest ones. They are the ones who speak only when necessary, and when they do, everyone pays attention. Control of the mouth also means avoiding emotional reactions. Anger, frustration, ego. These emotions push words out of you that you later regret. A single sentence spoken in anger can destroy years of trust. So the real strength is not in speaking your mind instantly, but in holding back, observing, and choosing the right moment. When you feel the urge to respond immediately, pause. That pause is power. That silence is control. And that control separates winners from losers. Now let's move to the mind. Your mind is your battlefield. If you cannot control your thoughts, you cannot control anything. Most people are prisoners of their own thinking. They overthink small problems, fear things that haven't happened, and doubt themselves constantly. But the truth is, your mind is a tool, not your master. You must train it like a weapon. Start by observing your thoughts instead of becoming them. When a negative thought appears, don't accept it blindly. Question it. Ask yourself, is this useful? Is this helping me move forward? If not, let it go. The more you practice this, the stronger your mental discipline becomes. Over time, you will realize that you can choose what to focus on. And what you focus on grows. A controlled mind is calm under pressure. When others panic, you stay steady. When others overreact, you stay logical. This gives you a massive advantage in life, because decisions made in calmness are almost always better than decisions made in chaos. And life rewards those who can think clearly when everything around them is falling apart. Next comes emotions. Emotions are powerful, but they are also dangerous if left uncontrolled. Most people are driven by how they feel in the moment. If they feel happy, they act. If they feel angry, they react. If they feel sad, they quit. But successful people do not depend on emotions. They act based on discipline, not feelings. Controlling emotions does not mean suppressing them completely. It means understanding them and not letting them control your actions. For example, feeling anger is natural, but acting on that anger without thinking is weakness. Feeling fear is natural, but letting fear stop you is failure. You must learn to feel everything, but act with control. One powerful way to control emotions is to delay your reaction. When something triggers you, don't respond immediately. Give yourself time. Time weakens emotions and strengthens logic. And what feels intense in the moment often fades quickly, and once it fades, you can respond in a way that benefits you instead of harming you. Another important aspect is detachment. Not everything deserves your emotional energy. People will say things, situations will change, problems will come. But you don't have to react to everything. Choose what matters, ignore what doesn't. This selective attention protects your peace and keeps your focus sharp. Now let's talk about money, because this is where many people lose control completely. Money is not just currency, it is freedom, security, and opportunity. But without discipline, it becomes a source of stress and regret. Most people earn money, but they don't control it. They spend based on emotions, not logic. They buy things to impress others, to feel better, or to escape boredom. And in doing so, they trap themselves in a cycle where they always need more but never feel satisfied. Controlling money starts with awareness. Know where your money is going. Every expense should have a purpose. If it doesn't add value to your life, question it. This doesn't mean you should never enjoy your money, but enjoyment should be controlled, not impulsive. Saving is important, but investing is essential. Money sitting idle loses value over time. But money used wisely can grow and create more opportunities. The key is patience. Real wealth is not built overnight. It is built through consistent, disciplined decisions over time. Another important principle is living below your means. Just because you can afford something doesn't mean you should buy it. This mindset keeps you in control and prevents unnecessary financial pressure. It also gives you the freedom to take risks when needed because you are not constantly worried about money. Now, when you combine control over your mouth, mind, emotions, and money, something powerful happens. You become stable. You become unpredictable to others but consistent within yourself. And this combination is rare. Most people master one or two areas, but very few master all four. A person who controls their mouth avoids unnecessary conflicts. A person who controls their mind makes better decisions. A person who controls their emotions stays strong in difficult situations. And a person who controls their money builds long-term security. Together, these controls create a life of power, discipline, and quiet success. But remember, this is not easy. Control requires practice. It requires awareness. And most importantly, it requires patience. You will fail sometimes. You will speak when you shouldn't, react when you shouldn't, spend when you shouldn't. But the goal is not perfection. The goal is progress. Every day, try to improve a little. Speak less, think more. React less, observe more. Spend wisely, not emotionally, not emotion. Over time, these small improvements will transform your life in ways you cannot imagine. There is also another layer to this, self-respect. When you control yourself, you start respecting yourself more. And when you respect yourself, others naturally follow. People can sense discipline. They can feel when someone is in control, and they treat that person differently. On the other hand, lack of control leads to regret, words you wish you didn't say, decisions you wish you didn't make, money you wish you didn't waste. These regrets accumulate and slowly weaken your confidence. That's why control is not just about success, it's about peace of mind. Think about the long term. Where do you want to be in 5 years, 10 years? The habits you build today will determine that future. If you continue without control, nothing will change. But if you start controlling these 4 areas, your entire direction will shift. Another important point is influence. When you control yourself, you gain influence over others, not through force, but through presence. People trust those who are stable. They listen to those who are calm. They follow those who are disciplined. So control is not just personal, it is social power. Also, understand that not everyone will like your change. When you become more controlled, more disciplined, some people may feel uncomfortable. They may try to pull you back into old habits. But you must stay focused. Growth often requires distance from those who do not understand your path. In the end, everything comes down to responsibility. You are responsible for your words, your thoughts, your reactions, and your finances. Blaming others will not change your situation. Taking control will. So start today. Not tomorrow, not next week. Today. Pay attention to your words. Observe your thoughts. Manage your emotions. Track your money. These simple actions, repeated daily, will build a version of you that is strong, calm, and unstoppable. And once you reach that level, you will realize something important. True power is not about controlling others. It is about controlling yourself. And when you begin to truly understand this, you'll notice a shift not just in your actions, but in how you see the world. You'll start realizing that most chaos around you is simply a result of people lacking control. Arguments, broken relationships, financial stress, missed opportunities, they all trace back to uncontrolled words, uncontrolled thoughts, uncontrolled emotions, and uncontrolled spending. Look closely at people who constantly struggle. They react instantly. They say everything they feel. They let their mood decide their actions, and they treat money like it comes and goes without consequence. This pattern repeats again and again until it becomes their identity. And the most dangerous part is they don't even realize it. But you are stepping out of that cycle. And that requires awareness. Awareness is the first step to control. Without awareness, you are just running on habits. With awareness, you start choosing your responses instead of repeating them. Let's go deeper into discipline, because control without discipline cannot survive. Discipline is what keeps you consistent when motivation fades. There will be days when you feel like speaking out, reacting emotionally, or spending impulsively. That's where discipline steps in and says, "No, this is not who I am anymore." Think of discipline as your inner guard. It protects your future from your present impulses. Every time you resist the urge to speak unnecessarily, your discipline grows. Every time you choose logic over emotion, your discipline strengthens. Every time you save or invest instead of wasting money, your discipline builds your future silently. Hottest. And this is where most people fail. They underestimate small actions. They think one careless word doesn't matter. One emotional reaction doesn't matter. One unnecessary expense doesn't matter. But life is not built on big moments. It's built on small decisions repeated daily. And those small decisions either build your control or destroy it. Now imagine this: a version of you who pauses before speaking, who thinks before reacting, who stays calm under pressure, and who handles money with precision. That version of you doesn't chase respect, it attracts. That version doesn't need to prove anything. It naturally stands out. Another powerful aspect of control is timing. Knowing when to speak, when to act, when to stay silent, and when to move forward. Timing can turn an average decision into a powerful one. Say the right thing at the wrong time and it loses value. Stay silent at the right time and it creates impact. This is why patience is a hidden strength. Impatient people rush, and in rushing, they expose themselves. Patient people observe, and in observing, they understand more than others. And the one who understands more always has the advantage. Let's also talk about ego, because ego is the enemy of control. Ego pushes you to prove yourself, to win every argument, to show others that you are right. But in reality, ego makes you predictable and weak. When someone can trigger your ego, they can control you. True control means letting go of the need to prove yourself. You don't need to respond to every comment. You don't need to correct everyone. You don't need to win every argument. Sometimes walking away is the strongest move you can make. Silence, patience, and observation, these are not signs of weakness. They are signs of control, and control is power in its purest form. Now think about your environment, the people around you, the content you consume, the habits you follow. All of these influence your level of control. If you are constantly surrounded by negativity, drama, and impulsive behavior, it becomes harder to stay disciplined. That's why you must protect your environment. Choose who you spend time with. Choose what you watch. Choose what you listen to. Because your environment either strengthens your control or weakens it. And if you are serious about growth, you cannot ignore this. Let's go even deeper into emotional control. One of the strongest skills you can develop is emotional neutrality. This doesn't mean you don't feel anything. It means you are not easily shaken. Whether something good happens or something bad happens, you stay balanced. Why is this important? Because extreme emotions lead to extreme decisions. When you're too excited, you might overcommit. When you are too angry, you might overreact. But when you stay balanced, your decisions remain stable. This balance gives you consistency, and consistency is what builds long-term success. Not bursts of motivation, not temporary excitement, but steady, controlled actions over time. Another important truth is this: control gives you freedom. At first, it may feel like restriction. Speaking less, reacting less, spending less. It may feel limiting. But over time, it actually frees you. You free yourself from regret. You free yourself from unnecessary stress. You free yourself from financial pressure. And most importantly, you free yourself from being controlled by others. Because once you control yourself, no one else can easily control you. No one can trigger you easily. No one can manipulate your emotions easily. No one can pressure you into decisions easily. You become stable, grounded, and strong. And that kind of strength is rare. Let's also understand the long-term impact of money control. Money is not just about survival, it's about options. When you have control over your finances, you create choices for yourself. You can walk away from toxic situations. You can invest in your growth. You can take risks that others cannot. But without control, money becomes a trap. You earn more, you spend more, and you stay stuck. So the goal is not just to earn, it is to manage, multiply, and protect. And this brings us to responsibility again. No one is coming to fix your habits. No one is coming to control your emotions. No one is coming to manage your money for you. This is your responsibility. And once you accept that fully, your mindset shifts. You stop blaming. You stop complaining. You start improving. And improvement, even if it's slow, always leads somewhere powerful. Now imagine yourself months from now, after practicing this daily. Your words become sharper. Your thoughts become clearer. Your emotions become calmer. Your finances become stronger. People start noticing a difference even if they can't explain it. They see that you are not easily affected. They see that you don't react like before. They see that you move differently. And that quiet transformation is more powerful than any loud success, because real growth is silent. In the end, this is not about becoming perfect. It's about becoming aware, disciplined, and intentional. You will still feel emotions. You will still face challenges. You will still make mistakes. But the difference is you will recover faster, react smarter, and move forward stronger. So keep going. Keep practicing control in small moments. That's where it matters most. Not in big situations, but in everyday choices. Control your mouth, and you control your image. Control your mind, and you control your direction. Control your emotions, and you control your reactions. Control your money, and you control your future. And when all of these come together, you don't just live life, you command it. And as you continue walking this path, something even deeper begins to happen. You stop seeking validation. You no longer feel the need to explain yourself to everyone, to prove your worth, or to constantly show what you're doing. This is a silent upgrade that only comes when control becomes a part of your identity. Most people talk because they want recognition. They share everything because they want attention. But when you gain control, you understand that not everything needs to be seen and not everything needs to be heard. Some of your best moves will be made in silence, and some of your biggest wins will come from things you never announced. This is where restraint becomes your hidden weapon. Restraint is not weakness. It is the ability to hold back even when you can act. Anyone can react. Anyone can speak. Anyone can spend. But very few can hold themselves back when it matters. And that ability alone can change your entire life. Think about conflicts. How many problems in life come from unnecessary reactions? One message replied in anger. One argument that could have been avoided. One moment where ego took over logic. If you remove just these unnecessary reactions from your life, you eliminate a huge amount of stress and damage. You begin to realize that peace is not something you find outside. It's something you protect within, and control is how you protect it. Another level of control is consistency in private. What you do when no one is watching defines your real strength. It's easy to act disciplined in front of others. It's easy to appear calm when everything is going well. But true control shows when you are alone, when you are stressed, when you are tempted. Do you still control your words when you're angry? Do you still control your thoughts when negativity hits? Do you still control your spending when you feel low or bored? These are the moments that build or break you. Let's talk about habits, because control is built through habits, not intentions. You can listen to motivation all day, but if your daily habits don't change, nothing changes. Control becomes real only when it becomes automatic. Start small. Train yourself to pause before speaking. Even a 2-second pause can change your response completely. Train your mind to focus on solutions instead of problems. Train your emotions to settle before reacting. Train your money habits by tracking even the smallest expenses. At first, it will feel unnatural. You will forget. You will slip. But over time, it becomes part of you. And once it becomes part of you, you don't have to force it anymore. There is also a powerful connection between control and confidence. Real confidence is not loud. It's not about showing off. It's about knowing that you can handle yourself in any situation. When you know you can control your mouth, you're not afraid of saying the wrong thing. When you know you can control your mind, you're not afraid of challenges. When you know you can control your emotions, you're not afraid of pressure. When you know you can control your money, you're not afraid of uncertainty. That kind of confidence is unshakable. And then comes clarity. When your mind is not filled with noise, when your emotions are not pulling you in every direction, when your finances are not stressing you out, you start seeing things clearly. You make better decisions. You notice opportunities that others miss. You avoid mistakes that others repeat. Clarity is a direct result of control. Now let's address something important: temptation. Life will constantly test your control. There will always be opportunities to speak out of turn, to react emotionally, to spend impulsively. These temptations don't disappear. In fact, as you grow, they may increase, but your response to them changes. Instead of acting instantly, you start questioning your impulses. You ask yourself, is this worth it? Will this help me or harm me? And that simple questioning creates distance between you and your impulse. And in that distance, you find control. Another important layer is long-term thinking. People who lack control are focused on the present moment. They want immediate satisfaction. They want quick results. But people with control think long-term. They are willing to sacrifice short-term pleasure for long-term gain.